good morning, and good afternoon, and good evening. Now, when I'm on the road, you have to understand, I may not like you, and you may not like me. But we're going to have to learn how to work together, and we're going to have to learn how to just get along. Like Rodney King said, who had the bejesus beat out of him, can't we just all get along? Now, in this video here, you have the sausage gang, and every single member of this sausage gang thinks that they have the biggest sausage, which is of no surprise. So you have one of these motorcyclists, they think that they have the biggest sausage, and of course they fall victim to the mob mentality. So you have a man in a Range Rover comes along and he comes right into the middle of the ordinance. But knowing, thanks to him, the biggest sausage holder of them all is right in front of him. So he ends up taunting the man. The motorcyclist taunts the Range Rover man who has a wife and has a child in the vehicle. So he taunts him, and he ends up thinking that he is untouchable and he's invincible. Mind you, that the man that is driving the Range Rover has over 100 plus motorcycle men to look out for, and the safety of his wife and child, and also he has to make sure that he doesn't hit the man that is in front of him. So he has a lot of things going on, a lot of potential distractions, and so he's probably feeling a little bit uneasy, wouldn't you say, good folks? And so he's feeling intimidated. So then the man in front of him who's taunting him, he stops the motorcycle, puts on his brakes, and then the man, the Range Rover, ends up bumping. Now, you would think, folks, you would think that the people who have all the power would have been the motorcyclists. Now, my only problem with this mob mentality is that there was nobody that had any sense to look and say there was a man that was trying to get on his way with a wife and child. Let him go about his business. So, because that didn't happen, naturally, this was going to turn into an issue. So when you have the biggest sausage, and you think you have the biggest sausage, and then somebody else comes along, and then you soon realize that you don't have the biggest sausage, then there is bound to be an issue. And that's exactly what happened here, good folks. Now, I'm thinking, I have 100 plus motorcycle men. I don't know which one of these sons of a bitches have just got out of Rikers Island off of a 15 prison year stint for murder. I don't know if these are Hell's Angels on Suzuki's. What I do know is it's more of them than it is of me, and I am one man, and I have a child, and I have a wife here in the vehicle. So if I'm feeling intimidated, okay, my first obligation is the safety of others on the road. But if the people on the road beside me, in front of me, and in back of me are putting my life and my wife and my child's life in jeopardy and endangering us, then I'm going to have to do what any good old American man would do. And I'm going to plow every single one of them goddamn sons of a bitches right over until I get outside the nearest police station. Now, I'm all for everybody having fun. But I think that if there was one thing that could have been done by the man who was driving the Range Rover, it was he could have opened up a line of communication. And everything would have been fun. It would have been nice. But he wasn't able to do that because of all the intimidation. These guys wanted to be assholes, and they wanted to make sure that this man respected them because they had the biggest sausage, because they were members of the big notorious sausage gang. But if the man in the Range Rover had got over his intimidation and he had said, waved out, signature, waved out with his arm and said, I have a wife and child in the vehicle, let me go about my way. I Let me just go about my way. I mean you no harm. Now, if he had done that, perhaps we would like to think that one of the notorious sausage gang members would have said, it's a man, wife and child, let him go about his way. Split it in half, let him go about his way. You, get from in front of him, and let him go about his business. He has a wife and child, wife and child, wife and child, wife and child. And then all of a sudden, everybody would have got out the way. But because that didn't happen, because the motorcyclists who had all the power and strength and the numbers did not allow that to happen, of course we had an issue. And so when this man finally drives down the street and goes a little bit of ways after he hits one of them, because he had stopped his brake in front of him, he ends up getting attacked. And they end up slamming and trying to break through the man's vehicle. The man has a wife and kid. He don't know if these people have just got out of prison. So, personally, I think, folks, we need to see what America has to say on this. So I went to the Daily Mail, and I seen a comment. I'm going to leave y'all with this. I know this is going to get read here. As anything about cyclists, a bikers always does, unless you say how much you love them, that is. But I feel the bikers are in the wrong here. I have no problem with events for them, but they should not get in the way of traffic like that. This poor bloke was just trying to get somewhere, and probably having to watch 100 different places at once with all of these bikers around, and finds one just stops right in front of him. Next thing he knows, 100 plus bikers are gunning for him. So I would do exactly the same thing myself and just kept on driving till I was outside a police station. And I agree with this notion. I subscribe to this notion, folks. Because when a man is confronted by overwhelming force and strength and numbers of other men, and he has a wife and child in the vehicle, every single one of you people perhaps would have done the same thing, good folks. You would have wanted to just go about your way and go about your day on your business. But if they were intimidating you, you would have had to do what you had to do. So anyway, America, just remember to respect your fellow driver. We may not like one another, but we got to get along. Like Rodney King said, can't we just all get along? Respect your fellow driver, respect the law of the road. And if you are a member of the notorious sausage gang, I would like to ask you one question. Did you feel it was really necessary to intimidate that man who only had a wife and child in his vehicle?